If my hair in this whole setup actually wasn't a dead giveaway, I'll just say it here now for you. Sometimes I like to dabble in that ganja. Stay with me here. One night I indulged in said ganja and wanted to play a game. So I looked through my Wii games and oh, is that Sonic and SEGA All-Stars Racing? I used to love this game. I remember all those late night sessions grinding out points trying to unlock all these characters that were from franchises I had never even heard of. Let's go pop it in and see if it holds up. Yeah, there's my boy Sonic, Tails, Knuckles. Man, they even got Eye in this game. I love Super Monkey Ball. Who else do they got? Wait a minute. Who the hell is Billy Hatcher? I burst out laughing to myself because one, I was baked, and two, I couldn't believe my eyes. Who the hell is this funny little chicken man, and what game is he from, and most importantly, how do I know nothing about him? Long story short, I raced as him in his funny little chicken car for a few minutes before racing to my laptop to write this video idea down because I knew that I wanted to solve this mystery for myself. After my nostalgia bait gaming session, I went to eBay and begrudgingly spent a whopping $70 on the one and only Billy Hatcher game, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. Well, it wasn't that easy. This game was actually lost in the mail for over a month, but that's neither here nor there. I didn't look up anything relating to this game because I wanted to go into it as blindly as possible, and I'll just say it now. This game is absolutely fascinating. The fascinating parts of this game don't even start when you put the game in, but actually before that. On the box right here, it says it was made by the creator of Sonic, which seems obvious now looking at the head shapes of these characters, and it also explains how, despite the fact that our pal Billy here is a one-game wonder, he ended up in a bunch of Sonic party games. It can also be seen by the fact that this game is about you rolling around these stages with an emphasis on speed as seen by the timer that never leaves the screen. You start the game off as just Billy No Hatcher, a boy from somewhere, I guess. Billy and his friends get mysteriously transported to Morningland. Yes, Billy Hatcher is an isekai. Upon arrival, you are deemed the chosen one somehow, whatever, I guess, by the chicken people and are tasked with taking on the evil crow army. And in the very first mission, you get the famed chicken suit and quite literally start rolling. Yeah, story is not one of Billy Hatcher's strong suits, but it's a 3D platformer, and honestly, I expected that and also preferred that. I never needed any more motivation than you gotta defeat Bowser in the Mario games, so this story works here. The less story in a game titled Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, the better. And I'm just gonna get it out of the way now. The controls for this game are strange. Billy by himself is practically useless. All he can really do is walk around, not run, but walk, and jump. He has Crash Bandicoot jump physics, which would be totally cool if this was a Crash game and the levels were designed with that in mind, but that's not the case here. Billy's jump just goes high and not very far. Once you get the egg, the controls don't become any less strange, but they become infinitely more fun with techniques you can use like the egg jump, the egg roll, the egg jump and roll, and you can kick the egg like a boomerang, which is an absolute godsend, trust me. There are genuine issues with the egg controls and platforming with the egg, but I'll get into those later because I want to start with the positives, and there's honestly a lot of them. Musically and overall aesthetically, this game is pretty strong. It was made by SEGA in their heyday. Well, kinda. This game still came out a couple years after they discontinued the Dreamcast, but still. SEGA was a beast in the 90s and early 2000s in terms of visuals and music, and that still stays true here. This soundtrack isn't no Sonic Adventure 2, Live and Learn levels of peak, but it's still pretty good and fits the vibe of the game overall really well. The flute in the main theme and the level select theme are both examples of how well the soundtrack fits the really cutesy aesthetic of the game. Billy Hatcher also features what I'm going to call the SEGA blues, which is a phenomenon where for some reason SEGA games just look really pretty in their skylines and really anything that has to do with the color blue. Crazy Taxi, Nights into Dreams, Daytona USA, Outrun, and even like Echo the Dolphin all have this, and it's beautiful. It makes SEGA games from this era really easy to pick out of a group. And it's partially why SEGA and the industry's overall push for realism made me a lot less interested in their games visually. Like, look at fucking Sonic Adventure 1 Emerald Coast, and then look at Sonic Frontiers and tell me which game you think looks better. Visually, Billy Hatcher isn't like insanely stand out in terms of its impressiveness, but it sticks to its cute and vibrant art style, and overall theming really well. You wouldn't say a Kirby game is some visual masterpiece either, but it looks good, right? I just really enjoyed this game's commitment to the whole chicken theme. All of the icons in the main menu are eggs. The cute loading screen animation has an egg. All of the main NPCs are chickens. Like, I really appreciate it. It's the only chicken-themed game I can think of. Another small thing that I liked and wanted to mention was the first mission in every world of the game. I just said this game is very vibrant and happy, but the first mission of each world is actually really dark, and when I got it, I was scared that the whole game was gonna look like this. However, the goal of every first mission is to free the Elder Chicken who has been imprisoned in a gold egg by the Crow armies, I guess. Sure, man. Whatever you want. But eventually you'll find the golden egg, roll it around until it hatches, and then out will pop the Elder Chicken who will rip a cock-a-doodle-doo, and he'll bring morning back to the world, and the level becomes all light and vibrant again. It's a little thing, but I just love it so much. I think it's adorable. I know collectibles are a strange thing to praise a game for, but this game came out in an era where the 3D platforming genre was just super oversaturated, so I think it's worth mentioning. Outside of the Emblems of Courage, which are this game's basically stars from Mario, there are also hidden coins and eggs for you to find and collect. And honestly, I don't really know what the hidden coins do to this day. I know that after you get a certain amount of them or get them in certain levels, you can find eggs that hatch Sonic and other SEGA characters, which is cool as a literal Easter egg, but the game never once conveys to you what these coins are supposed to do. The eggs are the main show here. There are 72 different eggs for you to collect and find throughout the game that aren't just some collectible that you collect and it disappears and you check it off on a box. No, these are your power-ups and items throughout the entire game. You hatch your eggs by defeating enemies or finding fruit that are just all over the level and rolling over them with the egg you have. After a while of rolling, the egg will grow. You'll be able to click the R button with Billy. He'll say "cook-a-doodle-doo" and the egg will hatch. And whatever power or item you get will depend on the design that was on the egg you just hatched. So there are 72-ish types of eggs that you can roll around and then use. What pops out can range from these cute elemental animal fusion guys. My personal favorite is Pelawan. He's an absolute angel. There are also one-time use items that can pop out that range from a heal to temporary invincibility to temporary invisibility. And there's my favorite, the super fruit, which when using it will make every single egg on the map full grown. And I'm sure there's even more eggs that I either didn't find, didn't use, or couldn't figure out what they did. And on top of all of that, there are still hats and outfits you can get with the eggs too. From wings that lets you double jump to a stupid looking hat that regens your health and one that lets you control the eggs fucking psychically that unfortunately I didn't get to figure out how to use. There's also a slew of hats that give you either speed boost, strength boost, or will give some sort of element to the egg you're rolling around. This is all dope stuff, and the fact that you have to simultaneously be careful with the egg as to not break it while still fighting enemies and trying to grow the egg is just really fun and interesting. You can more easily crush enemies with a bigger egg, so depending on what power-up you have, it might be beneficial to wait on hatching it and to just use the big egg for combat. Which is a decision that I really like being in the player's hands of, do I want to keep this big egg, roll it around, and easily fight enemies with the risk of it breaking, or do I just want to restart the process now and get the power-up and go? I've never seen a game where the main power-ups are also the main collectibles, and those collectibles are also required to fight enemies and just progress through the game naturally. There's truly nothing like this in any other games, and it's my favorite design decision in Billy Hatcher. I wish more games tried this sort of system at all. Aesthetics and a cool power-up and collectible system can't save this game and cement it as some hidden gem that you've been sleeping on. I said there were negatives, and it's truly a shame because there are a ton of fun and good ideas at play here. Earlier when I said the controls were strange, I was being nice because the controls can be downright irritating a good chunk of the time. Billy's jump just stinks, and a lot of the time you can't safely make jumps that you think you should be able to make. Luckily, the egg controls are better, right? Sure. Sometimes. Okay, the egg controls themselves aren't inherently too bad. Yeah, it's a little weird that you always have to be inputting a direction on the stick or else you just drop the egg entirely, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. It honestly reminds me of Monkey Ball in a kind of way. The problem comes in when you have to start platforming with the egg. As soon as the first goddamn level, you will try jumping onto a platform with the egg, and the egg will make the jump, but Billy won't. God forbid that this jump is over an edge, and the egg lands on the platform and Billy falls and dies. It just feels dumb and is dumb. And even if you don't die because of this phenomenon, there will be times where the egg lands on the higher surface and Billy doesn't make the jump. So he needs to go find another egg to make the jump onto the surface again. And by the time you get another egg, roll it over to the edge, make the jump, the egg that you put up on top will despawn. Oh, what? Your cute little egg that was about to hatch and give you a good power-up just despawned in front of you because of a fucking jump? Oh, that's so sad, little guy. Oh, that's so sad. The fact is, when you use the egg jump, Billy spins around, and where he himself is actually going to end up is a total crapshoot, which, say it with me now, feels dumb. The camera itself isn't too bad, but it also isn't your friend. The game is just way too zoomed in. When the egg is full grown, it's hard to manage movement and any button input you need to make, and also manage the camera. And this wouldn't be so bad if the button to center the camera on Billy wasn't also the same button to lock in on enemies. So if you want to play fast and roll past enemies, which playing fast is when this game is at its most fun, by the way, you will often try and center the camera on Billy, lock onto an enemy God knows where, and just make the whole situation more irritating than it needs to be. There will be countless time wasted and countless deaths because of just the irritating situations the game will put you in. I don't think this is fully the control's fault, however. The levels shouldn't be designed to put you in these situations often, but there are constant jumps and cliffs that if you don't time perfectly will result in Billy and the egg getting separated and this whole annoying process happening. And it seems so easy to me. Just lower the edges by like a couple fucking inches, dude, and then Billy can safely make these jumps. Or also, make Billy's jump not suck. Billy Hatcher is at its best when you can play it fast. I believe the design of his moveset and the eggs both reflect this. Each world has a level where you race an NPC, and they're constantly some of the most fun levels in the game. Spamming the dash and doing egg jumps and rolls to cut corners while an NPC stays on your tail is like the apex of what this game can be. Unfortunately though, a lot of the missions don't lend themselves to playing fast, at least not on a first playthrough, and the slower you have to play through these levels, the more stupid shit with the egg is gonna happen. Yes, I said the aesthetics were strong, but the overall level designs couldn't feel more generic and basic. They all feel like basic biomes outside of Circus Land, and trust me, we'll get to Circus Land later. I was super excited to see Dino Island after completing Pirate Land, which might be the best level in the game, and I was really disappointed when I got to Dinosaur Island, and there were no dinosaurs in sight, and it was just a generic lava mountain level. And maybe this would be more excusable if the level designs weren't so hostile towards the player and the controls of the game itself. What I'm talking about is the sheer amount of stupid tight jumps that you're gonna have to make, the stupid enemy placement, and these stupid jump pads over bottomless pits that don't even give you a shadow to like reference where you are. So God forbid you just slightly or off, miss the jump pad and you die. None of this is needed, or at least if you're gonna have the player deal with this, give me more hills, more ramps, more things with momentum, more things that just overall complement the control scheme at hand. We're entering nitpicking territory, so I won't stay here too long, but the power-ups in this game also don't feel as impactful as you'd want them to be. What I mean is that there are alleged puzzles in this game that require you to have certain eggs hatched and certain power-ups to deal with them, which is totally cool. Except most of the puzzles are just a firebar blocking progress, which means that you're going to need Clippin, the water elemental creature, 99% of the time. There's like 4 cool eggs that you have access to with interesting powers, and then you progress through the level and say, oh, I need to backtrack and just get the water one, like I've needed to do in all of these levels because for some fucking reason, there's constant fire bars. It's just annoying. Like, let me use the cool other power-ups that you put in the game more often. I have a guest speaker for today's video. Our budget went up, guys. I will now have somebody describe to you a level that has all of the problems with this game. Allow my friend Dark Landonn to speak about it. What the hell is Circus Park Mission 1? Let me describe to you the sheer amount of bullshit SEGA concocted and put into this level. You start the level with a ramp that you can roll down, and then you go into a bunch of enemies. Totally cool, right? There's actually a ton of cool eggs you can get here. I'm seeing wings, I'm seeing psychic powers, and oh wait, what is that? Is that fire bars? Oh, I see. I'll just go and grab the water penguin power up instead. Oh, and when you look at that, the water penguin egg is on top of a cliff that is the perfect distance for the egg to get stuck on. No problem. Oh, okay, and then there's a launcher that you can shoot out of, and God forbid that you are off by a centimeter and you're dead, no questions asked. I'm not even mad yet though, that's not that bad, we can handle that. Then you clear out some more enemies and you do a couple jump pads, whatever, been there, done that. Shortly after, you find the golden egg, and I don't think my co-host told you guys this, but the golden eggs die in one hit, and when the golden egg dies, you, Billy, also die and it consumes a life. Not a problem though, we've done this many times at this point in the game. Oh, there's a fire bar immediately after that can kill you even if the animation hasn't started yet because the hitbox starts before the animation starts? Cool. After that, there are these stupid f***ing rails that objectively do not work. The golden egg will just fall through the rails when trying to put them on there because for some ungodly reason, the egg doesn't just snap onto the rail when you put it there. And I don't know if there's footage out there of this, but it was the only time in the game I had this problem. I would put the golden egg down before getting on the rail to realign myself, and the egg would just roll itself off the cliff, dying, leading to Billy dying, leading to a restart. Like I've never had this problem before or after. Specifically on Circus Mission 1, the egg can just roll on its own off stage. I spent an hour and a half trying to get this golden egg on the rail, just to learn that after you get past one rail, there is a second rail that is exactly the same. Oh, and after the second rail, if that wasn't enough for you, there's the shitty spinning bastards that will kill the egg in one hit, forcing a restart. Oh, the designers are nice here. They gave us a generic egg that we can use to fight the spinny guys so that we don't have to use the golden egg that gets killed in one hit. Or I would be saying that if the generic egg wasn't in between rails 1 and 2, meaning that if you want to safely battle the spinny guys, you have to do these rails that don't work 3 times. It's stupid and ass and a waste of my time. The way you're supposed to use these rails in literally every situation beforehand is you're supposed to roll the egg on the rail and normally do something as Billy without the egg before the egg rolls off the rail. Makes sense, right? No, because these rails that look the same as all of the other rails in the game function entirely differently and the game doesn't tell you a single thing about it. You're expected to rolling jump onto the rails, which is something that the game doesn't even explain that you can do until conveniently right after this section, but in the same level. I knew how to use the egg jump before, the egg roll jump technique thing. I've done it all game because you just kind of figure it out fiddling with the button. But the fact that the game doesn't even expect you to know how to do it until after doing the rails where you need to do that rolling egg jump to get on them is just dumb. And this isn't a perfect solution. Rolling jumping is not going to work every single time. You better be fucking straight as an arrow going onto those rails, or else you're just gonna either A, miss the jump, or B, which is way worse, fall through the rail for some ungodly reason. This whole level is just a big spit in the face of what made Billy Hatcher fun early on. When I started working on this video and was playing the game and doing the first early levels, I genuinely wanted to 100% it because of just how fun and different it was. Like all the little annoyances and stupid things that could happen with this game due to the jank didn't really bother me. I could laugh it off and be like, haha, I just got Billy Hatchered. But no, this level broke me. After dying for reasons beyond my control over and over again, I just wanted the game to be done with by the time I got to this level. It makes me want to play Mario Odyssey, aka the best Switch game ever made, by the way. Or just any other normal 3D platformer with a normal fucking control scheme. Circus Land. It's a shame that the second level in this world is actually one of the most fun in the game, and the music here is actually really good. But the level just made me want to turn the game off. By the time I was done with this level, I was truly done with Billy and his egg rolling bullshit. I'll now pass the mic off to a much calmer Landonn. So yeah, that's Billy Hatcher. It's a shame that a game with so many great ideas just executes on so many of them so poorly. I don't hate this game by any means, just Dark Landonn is a different beast. But I just see so much of what this game does and what it could be if the controls and camera were better, if it emphasized itself on speed more, if it refined the power-up system, and also sometimes just explained itself better. This game could be pretty awesome. There's also no dialogue in this game, which I like, but at the same time, a little tutorial pop-up or a descriptor pop-up never hurt anybody. It suffers from the same SEGA jank that a lot of the 3D Sonic games from this era do, and you can trust me on that one. I grew up in the era where most of the Sonic games coming out were not that good. I don't want a remake of Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. I don't think that fixing the controls and fixing the camera and slapping 4K textures on everything fixes all of the issues with this game. The levels themselves need reimagined, and there's also no secondary or side characters worth mentioning here at all. I'm gonna bring up Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage here, not just because it's one of the best 3D platformers ever made, but because I also think Billy Hatcher could learn a lot from what it did as a sequel. For the uninitiated, Spyro 2 adds and further develops the Spyro series, adding side characters like Hunter, Zoe, Moneybags, and they're just simple, but they're really likable. You get cutscenes that show what the main villain Ripto is up to constantly, and it just makes the game feel a lot more alive than Spyro 1 did. Not saying Spyro 1 is bad or empty or anything like that, it's just that Spyro 2 is absolute peak. And that right there is why I don't want a remake, but would actually be more interested in a total revival of the Billy Hatcher franchise. Take the fun and good elements from this game, expand upon them, and then get rid of the jank, and then also make the levels less hostile towards the player. Expand on the world, make some characters that feel relevant. For a game with so much visual personality, it sucks that the characters and world lack it. I legitimately think this franchise had potential, and maybe that's just cope because I think Billy Hatcher could actually have a pretty fun Smash Bros. Moveset. I don't think it would be some majorly successful series, but I could see it having like a Pikmin level popularity, getting an entry every 5 to 8 years. As it stands though, it's just decent with potential. And that will be my thoughts on Billy Hatcher. I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. It's a frustrating 6 out of 10 though, because there is just so much to like about this game, but it constantly shoots itself in the foot. I would actually recommend you give it a shot, however. There is truly nothing like it in the gaming landscape, which nowadays is a pretty hard thing to say. Just don't spend $70 on the physical copy like I did. If you want to try this game, I would recommend sailing the seas and maybe hanging out with some dolphins along the way. And that's all for today. If you made it this far in the video, you know I love you. If you liked the video, drop a like. If you loved the video and want to see more, I'd appreciate a sub. We're almost at 500 subscribers. Check out the streams. They're always a good time. And yeah, peace, y'all. Y'all have a good day.